Well, hey everybody, Dylan here, and I'm back. Woo! 80 billionth time, yeah. Yeah, I just took a sabbatical for a little bit to plan out things for this channel. If you want to hear more about that, tune into the end of the video. But with that being said, right now it's about the Raw review, so let's kick into that. Oh, also, it's the March 25th, 2024 episode. We're in the Allstate Arena today, which is important because it is Punk territory. It's interesting because they don't leave him as a teaser to either start the show or end the show like he normally is. He's actually advertised. So just a weird pinpoint to put in, unlike his other times in AEW or WWE in this case. They start the show and they show CM Punk arriving to the arena, and they also show Cody Rhodes arriving to the arena. That transitions into a package on what happened on SmackDown between the Bloodline and Cody, which I will eventually review that, but no highlights of it until I review it. After that, Cody comes out, the crowd's singing his theme, and like word for word instead of just the whoa part. He then asks them what they want to talk about. He talks about how the time for talk is over and it doesn't even matter what he has to say right now. He talks about how Roman referred to Cody as a politician on Pat McAfee's show and on SmackDown. He then talks about everything that he does for the wrestling community. He does because he pretends to be the champion since the actual champion isn't here. Seth Rollins somewhere in the back saying, "This is bullshit." He says he respects Roman, but he also hates Roman due to screwing him out of his dreams last year. He continued to give a good promo about what he's going to do at WrestleMania, and then he asked the crowd if they're going to ride with him, if they could ride with him, and if they could fight with him. And then he asked the crowd to point at the sign, which they all do. He tried to talk more, but The Rock cuts him off. He comes out and goes to the ring for about 5 minutes to have a stare down, and that gets a holy shit chant, which, as normal, whatever network executives has to beep out this shit, so it's like, holy and like they talk, you get what I'm saying by now. That changes to a "this is awesome" chant eventually, and then after like 5 minutes, The Rock leaves the ring, and Cody's music hits as he looks kind of confused, and commentary's like, what is The Rock doing? Playing mind games with him? After that, we go backstage where Ricochet's getting ready for his match, which is coming up next against JD, apparently. I think this is like his third consecutive match against, I almost said Bullet Club, against the Judgment Day. And he's won the other two, so I wonder how this one will go. But yeah, he's gonna go against JD specifically after the ad. Come back from the ad and they replay The Rock coming out earlier. Commentary's trying to wrap up the situation, send it backstage to Jackie so that way she can get an attempt to get a word in with The Rock. She asks him about what he said to Cody Rhodes, and he says to go ask Cody if she wants to find that out, and he walks away. Boo that hill. Then we get a backstage vignette of a dartboard, and then it zooms out of the dartboard, and it's Priest and Finn playing on the dartboard while Dom and Rhea and JD are talking. Rhea and Dom said something to each other. I guess Dom was apologizing for next week. And then they all just told JD basically, hey, get ready. So yeah, they just have a big meeting, how they talk about how JD needs to win, basically. When did Judgment Day become the group that I'm just like, all right, next? Oh, also, for that first opening segment, I'm going to give it, just for that segment, just for that part, I'm going to give it like 3 stars because it was pointless, but it had 2 stars. Like, star power stars, not literal, you know what I mean. Then this JD segment, I'm going to give like 3 stars also because it was kind of a pointless one, but I love JD, so I have to be biased. The Judgment Day, not, you know. They all fist bump as JD leaves the locker room to get ready for his match, which after like 20 minutes in that match, Ricochet ends up winning with a standing shooting star press pin combo. I'm going to give that match 4 stars because it was a solid match. And just remember, like, none of my star rating matters or is going to add up, like, makes sense. I could give something that's easily like a Meltzer 5-star classic. I could give like 2 stars here and then give something that's like a comedy match like 5 stars. It doesn't make sense, my ranking. It's just for funsies. After that, we see CM Punk coming out with the Cubs title. He's going to come out to the actual ring after the ad. Right now, he's just holding the title backstage, making his way to the ring. getting that pop in, you know. During this, they plug a Bray Wyatt documentary, and I'm not gonna lie, it made me very emotional. I think I've talked about this, maybe, sorta, and in case the video for the White Rabbit didn't give it away that I did like 2 or 3 years ago, Bray Wyatt was like one of my heroes, and it really fucked with me when he died. But hearing his song again and seeing the arena lit up with fireflies, ooh, it got to me. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of touched one of my feelings. It kind of punched it, to be honest. So that documentary is gonna be interesting. I might review it. I might just watch it for fun. I don't know. Just maybe keep on the channel, keep on watching, whatever. I'll let you guys know. You know that community thing where I can like send you all messages? I didn't know that. That was sarcasm. I might actually use that though. Anyway, rambling aside. After that, they showed Jey Uso coming into the building earlier today and plug him versus Shinsuke Nakamura later. And then it's clobbering time. CM Punk comes out. It's crazy that no company has realized this, but I don't think it's a thing you have to realize yet, is that eventually making Punk always come out in Chicago is eventually you're gonna lose that pop. But also, like, right now, Chicago is Punk country, so I don't think that's something anybody has to worry about. Yeah, they went crazy for him tonight. He says that the people keep on asking him if he'll be at, like, people in general keep on asking him if he's going to be at Mania, and the short answer is yes. His elbow isn't 100% yet, and he's not medically cleared, but his mouth still works. And then he made some comment towards April, and I just said, damn, Punk. Damn. They asked him if he's going to host Mania, and he said he doesn't know. And then afterwards, he teases being a referee for a title match at Mania, maybe, and that a lot of people asked him about that too. By the way, he subliminally like shouts out Cornette and the drive-thru experience by calling Pat McAfee's podcast the drive-thru and the experience. So that's crazy. That's a crazy world I never thought I'd live in. Anyway, he then takes time to mention Seth, to mention Roman, to mention Drew, and even The Rock caught a stray, to be honest. But whenever he talks about Drew McIntyre, Drew comes out immediately, and Punk tells him to turn off Drew's stupid song. Punk says that he's not looking to have a wrestling match, and Drew can get his bitch ass in the ring. I wish this was Dylan quotes, but honestly, that's verbatim what he said. I was like, oh, fuck. Drew then says he would love to, but doesn't Punk remember what happened last time they were in the ring? And basically it goes like Drew keeps on egging him on to like come out there and attack him, but Drew's not going to get in the ring to attack him. And then Punk keeps on going like, hey, get in here and fight me like a man. And Drew has 2 different anti-CM Punk shirts on. Like the first one he straight up just rips out of, and that's crazy. Drew tells him that he doesn't hate CM Punk. CM Punk actually completes him. Punk keeps on begging for him to get into the ring, and Drew keeps on dodging him through excuses and just straight up continuing on his story. Drew says that he's the chosen one, and Punk asks him who chose him, because it wasn't the fans. I loved it to begin with, because he's like, who chose you? Yeah, who's the name of that person who chose you? I was like, oh my god, don't do this. No, not in the new regime, please. Anyway, Drew invites him to be guest commentator for his and Seth's title match. And then Seth comes out, and I just want to take a moment, right? Even off the bat, this crowd is getting so spoiled, and I don't know if they realize it or not. I mean, before we even get into anything crazy, you have The Rock, you have Cody Rhodes, you have Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and CM Punk all on one show. That is easily the past 30 to 40 years of wrestling on one show, and that's wild. Not to even mention, by the way, we're not even in the second hour yet. This is still the first hour of the show. Seth gets into the ring afterwards, and Punk and him do a stare down for a bit as the crowd sings Seth's theme for a bit. That was a tongue twister. Then they go into CM Punk chants, and then Seth welcomes the crowd to Monday Night Rollins, and he says that it's his show, And he also runs down Punk and Drew at the same time, basically. Punk interrupts him, saying that this can be his show, but this is his city, like Punk's city. Seth then berates both of them for making decisions about the title match at Mania when Punk's not even in it. Seth then asks the crowd if they want Punk to be on commentary. They start chanting referee, and Seth says that his counting arm is damaged, and Punk does a ref count with his other arm. And then he says, to be fair, I don't think I could be impartial with either one of these dipshits. When he says that, Drew reminds him that it's a PG show, and then Seth asks Punk if he wants to... Hold on. Seth asks if Punk wants to know what he thinks about him, and Punk immediately says no. Seth continues afterwards, saying that he doesn't think anything about him. He says that Punk needs him at Mania and likes the idea of Punk commentating his finest moment at Mania, and that he doesn't care what Punk does at Mania as long as he doesn't cross him. He just needs to stay out of Seth's way, basically. Punk then says it's decided he's going to do commentary at Mania, and he's going to make them both look interesting for once, according to Punk. Punk also says to hit his music, and as he's walking away, Drew cuts him off and says he doesn't get the last word, and he's making his way to the ring as he's saying this, that the only thing that Drew's obsessed with is the title. And then he starts quoting Stan by Eminem because he calls Punk a Stan. And as he's quoting the song, he gets in the ring and then catches a super kick and a curb stop from Seth Rollins. We then go to a backstage vignette where Shinsuke says that it's unfair what Jey is getting a shot at Mania and not Shinsuke, but tonight will be Jey's biggest nightmare. Give that like 3 stars. Also, that WrestleMania segment, I'll give that like 4 stars. That was a crazy segment. I loved it. After that, we come back from ad where Candice LeRae and Ivy Neal are in the middle of a match, one-on-one match specifically, and Candice ends up winning after faking a knee injury and then gets the roll up for the win, and Indy Hartwell doesn't appreciate her lying like that. After that, we go backstage where the New Day and DIY are talking, and it goes from like friendly competition and them roasting each other until the Awesome Truth comes out to just talk about it. And Truth talks about how he talked to JBL, Pat McAfee, about the Awesome Truth being on commentary for New Day versus DX, and they were fine with it. As the shot fades away after shenanigans and them talking, you can see that Drew and Paul Heyman are talking about something in the background. More on that later. When we come back from the ad, we have the match, which gets interrupted with Judgment Day taking out DIY and the New Day. Awesome Truth is on commentary, calling all the shots until Miz does run in for the ring, but Truth says he's doing commentary tonight, and he stays on commentary until the Judgment Day surrounds him, and then Truth tries to like just talk and ignore him, but they end up throwing him into the ring, and then Truth gets the advantage for a second until Damien catches him and beats him down and hits him with the Razor's Edge, and they hold him down as Finn does a coup de grace, and Judgment Day stands high. Also, that that Candice match, I will rate like maybe 1 star. Not because of the match, but I literally saw 10 seconds of it. Segment and beatdown, I'll count. Segment, match, and beatdown, I'll count all together at 3.5 stars. After that, we go backstage, Cody and Jackie talking, and she asked him what The Rock said, and he said that he apologized, but he doesn't want to repeat it. He owes everyone an apology and thank her for her time. He walks away. He says, and she's like, oh, okay. Like 0.5 stars there. Commentary then plugs Vinchi versus Andrade coming up after the ad break, because apparently Ivar was not medically cleared for tonight, so that sucks. But even though that he's a replacement, he did pretty good, just a heads up for later. Come back after the ad, and Kathy Kelly's having an interview with Gunter about what Sammi said last week. No spoilers on that. We'll get to that if and when I have a review from last week. He said he would have replied to him directly last week, but Sammi stormed off like a child, and he didn't take those words personally because he knows Sammi didn't believe him. He didn't believe that he will win. Nobody believes that Sammi will beat Gunter, and he doesn't believe that he'll even beat Bronson Reed tonight. He was asked if he's going to scout Sammi, and he just repeats that he doesn't believe he's going to win tonight and then leaves. 3 stars for Zedingara. Then we go to Vinchi, Sans, Gunter, Sans, just Sans Imperial at this point, versus Andrade. Originally, like I said, it was supposed to be Andrade versus Ivar, but Ivar isn't medically cleared to compete tonight. I don't know why. Haven't looked into that. Maybe if I do a news video, you'll find out about that. Long story short, Andrade wins by hitting the message for the win. Afterwards, on that match, I'll give it 3 stars, sure. It was compelling. A good mid-card match. Afterwards, we see Rhea and Dom walk into the ring after ad break. Then we come back, and after some social media shenanigans, which were hilarious, Rhea Ripley comes out and talks about how she feels that Becky isn't giving her enough attention, and she could attack her at any time now, but she was just being respectful. Now she's impatient. She hands the mic over to Dom, who is going to talk about her, but he gets booed. And you don't even get to hear what he says because Becky comes out. After she comes out, she said she did that she came out to her without having to have a match first. Rhea doesn't wrestle on Raw anymore anyways, according to her. Rhea says she doesn't have to get in the ring every week to get these people's attention. All she has to do is post a photo or video and it gets everybody's attention. I don't comment. Becky cuts her off and says they have 2 different opinions of what it means to be a champion, basically. They go back and forth for a little bit until Rhea calls her a cockroach and says that she's going to injure Becky and have her sit next to her daughter at home as her daughter calls Rhea mommy. That pissed off Becky and made her give a furious speech on not talking about her daughter, and after Mania that they won't be the same again. Becky takes out Dom, which makes Rhea have a hockey fight with her. Her and Becky throw down until Rhea throws Becky shoulder first into the turnbuckle. As Rhea and Dom are leaving, Becky jumps off the steps and takes them both out. Officials then separate them, and it keeps going back and forth for a little bit until Becky's music plays and we fade to the back. As they go to the backstage, we see Sammi, who sees Gable talking to Maxine. He keeps on walking for a little bit. Gable then pulls him aside and kind of starts to apologize, but Sammi cuts him off, saying that he knows tonight his focus needs to be on Gunter. Gable cuts him off, basically belittling him and telling him that his focus should be on Bronson, not Gunter, and that's part of Gunter's plan. That he's trying to take his focus off of Bronson, and that he needs to focus on the task at hand. Sammi said he's right, and he appreciates him saying that. Then we go to the match between Bronson and Sammi, where Reed wins after a distraction from Gunter and a tsunami. Reed got busted open somehow during that match, by the way, so that was pretty cool. Afterwards, Jey Uso has a promo about beating up Shinsuke Nakamura. That's his direct verbiage. When his brother cuts him off, both of them do, just for Jimmy to say no yeet instead of him to say yeet, and then walks away. Oh, also, I didn't rate that match, I don't think. That match, I'll give, 3.5 stars. Sure, why not? It was a cool match. That segment that I just mentioned, I'll give it, 3 stars. Yeah, this is a bad week for me, but, not a bad week for wrestling. After the ad, Sammy's losing it backstage, and Gable comes up to him. Sammy's mad that he let Gunter in his head, and then he asks Gable how he let it happen. Gable then basically hypes him up and tells him that mentally he has to be strong enough to defeat him. He needs a different approach, and if that's what he wants, then they can talk. And they show a shot of the, center, the arena, the inside of it, and cameraman coming down the ramp. It was a one take. It was kind of cool. Then we get a recap of the beginning of the show, basically. After that, Jey Uso's backstage. Seth, he's at the curtain before he gets out to the ramp. And then Seth comes up to him and tells him that Cody and him have his back tonight. Just get the W. Jey then says yeet and comes out. And so does Shinsuke Nakamura. And they have their match. About halfway through their match, as you could guess at this point, Jimmy and Solo come out through the crowd and get beaten down by Cody and Seth. And then Drew comes out and sneak attacks Seth, throws him against the ring post. And LED, that's the word I was looking for, sorry. The LED ring post, and then does something on the crowd, I think. But he took him out of ringside either way. It doesn't matter because Jey still won the match with a spear. After the distraction wraps up, you can see Cody and Jimmy fighting near the exit of the arena. Cody gets the advantage until The Rock jumps him. So it's funny because through those doors he throws Solo and Jimmy both out. And yet for some reason, when The Rock throws him out later on, I think through the same doors, after The Rock jumps him, by the way, he starts talking a lot of smack as he's beating the shit out of Cody. Bad arm and all. I don't know why I put... Oh, yeah, he throws him, bad pectoral muscle. He starts throwing it into the bus. Starts throwing trash cans at him. They work their way outside to where he just throws him. Throws him so hard against the bus, 5 different times. He starts running down Cody and his crybaby fans and Mama Rhodes and saying that it didn't have to be like this. And then he shows Cody, towards the end of the towards the end of the program. It shows Cody, and he has crimson mask, basically. It was so beautiful. The Rock pulls out another weight belt. This one different from the previous week. He smears Cody's blood all over it while screaming, "Look at your boy, Mama Rhodes. Look at him." He then says this verbatim. They had to censor him early, but I can read lips. He said, "This is what happens when you fuck with the final boss." And then he lays him out as we fade to black. That was the coolest exit to a Raw, in my opinion, that they've had in a while, and they've had some fucking killers recently. Honestly, maybe it's just biasy. Maybe the fact that seeing some blood and be whoa, blood, that's cool. Maybe that's got something to play into it, but I rate it 5 stars easily, that segment. I think that's my 3rd or 4th 5-star, so I gotta go easy on those. I'm handing them out this year. But this is a great year for wrestling. I've never been more happy to say I'm a wrestling fan. Keep the good content coming. This whole Bloodline versus Cody's crew thing, I love it. Overall, I'd rate the show, I think it's fair to say 4.5 stars for the whole night, because they had some pretty decent, pretty killer matches. And then they had 1 or 2 main segments that made me want to tune in for the rest of the show. I personally loved it. I think that's all I gotta say about it. For everybody watching this video, we're at the end. The Raw review's over with. Thank you for watching. Normally this is this is a new episode of Raw, so normally this comes out on Tuesday. Had a little hiccup in my plans. Next week, hopefully, I'll be back on schedule. If you want to tune into next week's Raw, it'll be out on Tuesday. New episode will. I'll do an old episode, hopefully on Monday, or Friday. I'm going to have an old episode of SmackDown, and then Saturday we'll have a new episode of SmackDown, if that interests you. If not, I get it. But if so, that subscribe button's there. And, if you like this content, I'd appreciate that thumbs up. Always feel free to say hi in the community. What, the community? What is it? Comments. There we go. My brain died. But hey, that's okay. None of us are perfect. Anyway, right. So where I've been. So yeah, it's a normal Dylan story. Long story short, I took a break from this channel. This time, it was a planned break. I just didn't say anything because, I don't know, I just presumed it would be okay and I'll eventually pick up the X amount of views I was getting. It doesn't hurt me. But anyway, long story short, I took a break because WrestleMania season overwhelms me terribly. I meant to pick back up right after, once the build-up to WrestleMania started, so that way wherever I ended up in the story made sense. I didn't do that. That was my bad. So yeah, since that was the case, I'm going to have a lot to catch up on, but hopefully, knock on wood, it'll be caught up on the channel. Just to give you a kind of behind the scenes, I also took this break because I was thinking about doing this in a quote-unquote podcast form, to where Sunday would have the previous week's Raw and SmackDown reviews on it, and it would have the news of the week, and then whatever was the Monday or Friday, Tuesday or Saturday would have the newest one on it. If you like that idea, and if you want, just kind of tell me what you think of that in the comments below. I'd appreciate that. But yeah, long story short, I was just spitballing ideas, and I procrastinated a lot. Should be back on a normal schedule. So today, hopefully I upload this when I think so. Yeah, today's Thursday, so that means I'll see you all tomorrow if you want to stick around for a SmackDown review. Or maybe I'll have a gameplay up today. Haha, you know how that one goes. Alright, see y'all for old SmackDown. Bye!